Hi, Joe Pepraki from Loyola Press for Pop-Up Prayer. And today our guest is Jean Heaton. Jean is the author of Helping Families Recover from Addiction. Hi, Jean. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Great. Well, Jean, I know you do a lot of work with the 12-step practices, and you suggest that all of us can really learn something about prayer from the 12-step experience. Tell us more about that.
Um, the 12 steps are all centered around one idea, and that is that we're not God. Cuts to the chase pretty quickly. And so I learned more about my relationship with God through the 12 step program than almost anything I'd ever studied before because it framed it in that way that made me see that I was trying to run my own show, that I was the God of my understanding. I'd never thought of that before, but that's at the center of the 12 steps is that we're not God. And there is one. You can reach out to him and he'd be happy to help, but you got to step aside.
That's a powerful notion, kind of a Copernican revolution, right? That doesn't revolve around us, but we revolve around God. So, well, we know that the 12-step practices emphasize the notion of powerlessness related to what you just said. So, how is this notion key to a life of prayer for everybody?
Well, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous actually describes this well. It says that if we are in charge of our life, if we're running on self will, then we're like an actor or a director running a show.
Mm.
It's not our show to run, So if you can see it from that posture, if you can become an observer of your life and notice, I'm being the actor, catch yourself in that. And then step aside, that's kind of a thing you have to return to. It's not a one and done, it's a daily reprieve of trying to be the God of your understanding.
Yeah, that's a great image to think about, the actor director image there. And so finally, you've mentioned that trust and intimacy play a big part in the 12-step practices. And so what role do trust and intimacy play in our life of prayer?
Okay, well, the step 11 is the one that speaks most directly to prayer, and it's sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Well, that's pretty strong. That's to me reminds me of the sushi pay prayer. It's a difficult prayer only for the knowledge of His will. Families that come into the rooms frazzled and not knowing what to do next, we need to be very clear. This can't be about what you want. This has to be about what God wants. He sees more than we do. He knows what your loved one needs. He knows what you need. You can't know. And so you have to rely on Him. And so you take these baby steps in prayer where you ask for His will and you observe what happens. And when you see how much better things turn out when you get out of the way,
Mm.
that trust starts to grow. And then you might let go of a little more and a little more. And it's just like any relationship, it starts to grow and flourish, and you trust more.
Gene, that's great advice and very helpful. Thank you for helping us all to understand how some of the thinking behind the 12 steps can help all of us in our life of prayer. Thank you so much, Gene.
Welcome. I'm
And
happy to share.
sure, and thank you to all of you for joining us. This is Joe Pepraki from Loyola Press for Pop-Up Prayer. Until next time, God bless.